So, ladies and gentlemen, very warm welcome and very good morning to all of you. This is a very special session, and and we are here today to prepare together for the markets for the day. And we're going to see a lot of cues and a lot of interesting things on the chart. As a trader, one of the things which I do is I prepare myself in the morning. I prepare myself in the previous day night as well as in the morning. And when I'm prepared, half the battle is won anyway. Today, there are very interesting things to be shared, and I'm here together with a group of students who chose to come in the morning and prepare with me. Okay. So let's get started, and I will share it with you today. How I tend to prepare for the morning markets. I'm going to share my charting software. I'm going to show you how I look at the charts and how I prepare so that I can be very profitable throughout the day. So let's start. The most important thing, is to wake up in the morning in time, and the endorphins that your body and your brain secretes and the happy hormones that come out doing your routine exercises, etc., is very healthy for a trader. I have known many traders who are very specific about their health and waking up early. So let's begin with the chart of Nifty, and side by side what I will be doing is I will also be looking at what is going on around the world, what happened last night around the US markets and world markets, and how the SDX right now is indicating to us. We'll have a step-by-step procedure to go about this. Okay, so let's look at the chart of Nifty. And right now I see that there is this bearish engulfing pattern on the daily chart which was formed yesterday. Now, yesterday was a very interesting day and a very opportunistic day. I hope a lot of people made money with trading on the opportunities the market gave. So one of the primary things was that when the first 15 minutes itself and the first hour itself, there was a bearish candle which was like a bearish belt hold line, and it is a big red candle basically showing us very strong momentum and absolutely having a shaven top. A shaven top means there's no higher wick, absolutely no higher wick, which is again a very bearish signal, so to speak. Now, whenever I talk about candlesticks, I talk about them with the idea of positioning. And any candle over here below this is supposed to be having a bad positioning for a bullish one. So this continues to be bearish and continues to be giving you an opportunity to sell at any rise, etc. Even if you take the 15-minute chart, the same story is there. Okay. Now, those who wait for the day's close in order to find the bias, those who are positional traders, if they look at the charts at the end of the day, there's a very clear bearish engulfing pattern on the daily chart of Nifty, which is particularly engulfing not even just one, but 4-5 days of movement altogether. So you see this, so many days of movement, 5-6 days of movement are engulfing together. 1 2 3 4 5 days of movement getting engulfed together by one bearish candle. And then what happens is that at the same time, when I notice the RSI, and I've always maintained this, that the RSI tends to be showing us things sometimes in advance if we know how to read it properly, and no indicator is like if this goes up it's bullish, this goes down it's bearish, but RSI shows us the shift in gear. So here we see that there is a divergence in the momentum. The price, which has been showing us a series of higher highs, coordinating with the RSI, showing a series of lower highs. So this bearish engulfing, first of all, is matching up with the divergence put together. So movement is not only just thrusted down, it is also slowed down in the overall trend. Also, I noticed that the 60 zone, which is for me a very important zone, it is a gear shifting zone. So basically in a long term or a medium term intermediate uptrend, If the RSI starts making highs and starts stopping around the 60 zone, it is showing me that there's a shift in gear towards a sideways or a bearish market, which is impending, which could be possible. Okay, everything is probabilities over here. But nonetheless, the momentum is strong, everything is bearish over here. We look forward to, purely speaking on technical analysis basis, we look forward to a short-term downtrend. This is beyond the start of short-term downtrend. Now, what are the important levels over here? Important levels would be the 50% of the candle. So the body of the candle. So the high of the candle is 12,430. The open of the candle is 12,430 and the close is 12,224. That's roughly 206 points. So average was, sorry, you half that and you come to the stomach of the candle, that is 103 points. So somewhere around 12,325, 27. Okay, these are important levels over here. 325. So we keep that in mind just in case we revisit these levels again. Okay, so 10,320, 25. I see that is coordinating also with a very important support zone, which was intraday broken yesterday in intraday. So the market did just not go down like this. It first halted a little over here. Then when it came down, it traded below this for a while and then went down further. Okay. So very interesting level marked out for us, and it is on the daily as well as the hourly chart coordinating to be an important level. Okay. Now let's have a look at a group of stocks, and I have some questions coming up. Okay. Hello. If somebody has messaged me audio lost, please correct that also message when the audio has come back, so that I don't get confused that the audio is still lost or not. Audio is completely fine, and I don't think there's a problem now. Is it fine now? Everyone, raise your hands. I guess yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Thank you. So, yeah. So what I'm saying is now we'll take a group of stocks, and I will also take up any questions if there are, slowly and steadily, right? And okay, I think Srishti is asking question. What does, okay, fine. Srishti, I would only say one thing. Sunday. Okay, so just get that clue. Sunday. Okay, and please discuss. Okay, okay, fine. I'm going to go step by step, slowly and steadily, and we're going to take up a lot of things. So first, we have taken Nifty. Gracie is requested that we discuss also Bank Nifty. So definitely, we'll take that up. Now, this is the daily chart of Bank Nifty, a very interesting phenomenon. So the day before this, that is Friday, if I open the 15-minute chart of Bank Nifty, which was very common to some banks, and SBI did that, I remember clearly. They gapped down and they pulled back up. And what is this kind of a gap? This kind of a gap is a this kind of a gap is a breakout gap. But this is actually such a small time frame of 15 minutes that actually it is like a not very tradable. Okay, and it is like a common gap itself. So when the breakout has happened below this level, and there are certain types of breakout, type 1, type 2, everything we have discussed. And on the 15-minute, as you can see, this range which was happening, on Thursday, that was between the 40-60 area of RSI. So again, that is a bearish thing. And as we go ahead, we have seen that over the period of time on the 60-minute chart, this area, this high is an important zone. Now on the 60-minute chart, in the last 3-4 days, it had been a 40-60 range, and we crossed that range and came below the 40 area. So this is again telling me that the sideways market has turned into the bearish market, right? And the lowest level we see is 20 right now on RSI. So what has happened is that we are crossing the speed limits of RSI, of momentum. But this is equally bearish in nature also. So what I would say is in this case, the positioning of this big red candle is different, but it is more bearish because one thing is for sure. Now NFT and Bank Nifty put together, Nifty and Bank Nifty, if we look at them in tandem with each other, we see one thing is that Nifty has been making new highs every day, and it made a new lifetime and went down. Whereas in case of Bank Nifty, it did not make a new lifetime high. It is already in kind of a distribution. Okay, so this is one thing. This is one thing. So what I'm saying is that it is bearish. And when I say bearish, it is not just bearish from a short-term point of view. Any pullbacks can also be like a bearish thing. Okay, and similarly for Nifty. Okay, so this is going to be a important thing for us to know how both these indexes are now showing us, and this shows us what when two indexes are moving together in the same direction. It shows us more strong market breadth. That means more stocks are participating. Okay, more stocks are participating towards one direction, right? Now, when I'm using my software to scan things, there are two levels at which I do. One is one is my scanner, which runs in the live markets, as well as it gives me something over the period of 2 3 days, right? So those scanners I'm not going to pull out in front right now. I'm simply going to take some charts which I found interesting. So I found interesting as I go across all the charts on my charting software. I particularly see no matter how good scanners I have, no matter what is there, it is all there to give me a help. It is there to aid me. It is not there to give me a spoon feeding. I have to wake up and do my analysis. I have to be prepared in order to really get my game up. Okay, so I do look at, it might surprise to some people, but I do look at all the charts every day. I will just flip through all the charts every day and come to the most interesting ones. Okay, so I'll come to the most interesting ones for all of you, and I'm going to show you the things which I'm keeping on my radar. Okay, number one, a stock NMDC. Now look at the weekly chart of NMDC. This is the weekly chart, and this is the daily chart of NMDC. Now, what does one notice over here? Can I have some answers? What does one notice over here? By the time I will start, I'll just open a document and make some notes. Can I have some answers? What do I see over here? NMDC. So, what I see over here is NMDC is extremely bullish, and I have made a note so that during the market hours, uh, it would be prudent. Now, when I say prudent, I mean when the opportunity comes, it would be more prudent to actually look for bullish moves. This would also mean that if it dips or if it goes sideways, either way, so either of the kind of correction. I see that MNMDC has made extremely strong higher highs, and why strong also because we see that volumes is a major volume that we have not seen such single candlestick volume on the daily chart since a long time on NMDC. So I would give it a complete thumbs up. Okay, and if I was to think harder and make some wave count, assign some wave counts, it would be really strong also. Let's look at the hourly chart. Again, hourly chart, it gapped up yesterday and within the zone of the gap took support and went high. So I think this is a complete no-brainer, very bullish. Any dip or any kind of sideways movement, I would like to trade this stock from the bullish angle. Okay, correct, Virochanji, correct, right. So thank you, Virochanji. At least somebody like that participated, right? So this is one stock which I have on my radar. Then I have, and now see what happens is this is a bullish stock, extremely bullish thing in a bearish market phase. That itself is a sign of outperformance. in bearish market is performing so well. So that's a sign of outperformance. That money in the broader market may be not coming in terms of the buying pressure, but the money is coming in the stock. So this is one good plus again. But one more thing we should notice is that whenever we are having a short-term bearish momentum, I said that Nifty, Bank Nifty, okay, these are like in short-term downtrend now, according to the technical analysis. But let's look at something which are stocks which are with that short-term downtrend. In that, I've got a small list. Then I'm going to come again to the bullish stocks which I have on my list. One of them is REC, which is very interesting. Okay, REC, because I look at the hourly chart of REC, and what do I notice? I have to take the one with 1 second. Yeah. Hmm. I see that on the hourly chart of REC, there is a very interesting support zone which is standing over. So I'm going to look for a fresh signal of breaking the support if this happens to be so. Okay. So this is again a very important support zone for REC. And the price would have made a double top pattern in case it is supposed to break these areas. It would be somewhere like a double top pattern. Not a very ideal one because the two highs are not very close to each other, but nonetheless, area where the support has been defined multiple number of times. Okay, so how do I trade this, sir? So what are the time frames? So one can look at, I think, the daily time frame. Okay, see, trading is going to be a creative endeavor. It is not something which is always very planned. We can have idea. We can't really say exactly what price the market will offer us to enter. Okay, but one thing is for sure is the structure, the very structure of the hourly and the 15-minute chart is giving me an idea that this high lower wick candle, long lower wick candle was formed, and the market has just come below this entire zone. So here the price took support in the morning. It has tested this. It is again going here. I would not be surprised if it gaps down right below this area also. This can happen. Not saying it will happen. Can happen. Okay. So this is one stock which is on my radar, right, from the bearish angle. One more stock which is Lupin is on my radar again, and there's a couple of other stocks which are again, see, there are many stocks which are showing us very strong bearish momentum. I'm just taking a few of them, okay, and I will keep a list of them in front of me. So Lupin again is one stock which has shown us uh, a half a pattern. Basically, it's like it's not really a distribution pattern completed, but it is shown as something like a half-hearted pattern, like half-hearted head and shoulder. I would not buy into the fact that it is a bearish pattern right away, but what I'm saying is for the short term I see very high volumes, and I see one more important function which I get to see sometimes is that the market closed at higher levels on the Friday, and on Monday it gaps down. So basically, the play is that the price has not even gone across these zones, and there has been a strong gap down which has followed through. When a common gap has followed through so much, this is not a breakout gap, this is not a breakaway gap, it's a common gap. When a common gap has followed through so much, and it has done so with high volumes, then this is showing me certain definite weakness. I also noticed that this is below a support area. I would not consider this support area immediately very actionable because there's so much room for pullbacks to happen, right? So that way, but nonetheless very bearish structure. So Lupin again on one hand is something which I'd like to consider. So Lupin and REC, I would like to write that down. REC. Okay. These are the ones which are bearish. Now there are certain stocks like Bharti Airtel and PVR, which I feel are very bullish in the long term and the medium term. Okay. So I can take those up. But one of the things which is very prudent, at least for the first half of the day from my angle, is Bharti Airtel again. It's almost above, it's coming close to its lifetime high, and it's going to be a yearly, quarterly, monthly breakout. It's going to be insane. If you buy Bharati Airtel, then you're doing something correct technically from a very long term perspective. Okay. And I would not say much, because what happens is, if these are such long term this thing, first of all, many people are not having the idea of how to trade, how to put the stop losses. But all I can say is, in the medium term or the intermediate trend, I see that the Elliott wave counts, according to my counting, which are super strong. Okay. So anybody who likes to trade such a stock, okay, it is not something which is less volatile. It's quite volatile, and the lot size of Bharti Airtel is 1850, about 1850 shares, 1851 shares. So you have to be understanding of that fact, and if you want to trade from the bullish angle on Bharti Airtel, then it would be really nice if you would get some opportunities. Also, one more thing is that such strong trends need to be taken more positionally. Okay, when I took NMDC example, NMDC was something which was more of something which has started, is ripe, is fresh. Okay, when I take Bharti Airtel, in the recent past, it has been moving up. Okay, so a lot of intraday formations don't happen because the momentum is already very strong. For weekly or positional traders, matter is different. But a lot of intraday formations don't happen. So I'm not going to put that on my radar, but I'm going to for intraday, but I'm going to keep it on my watch list, you know, for intermediate uptrend. And if I find a good entry or some interesting formations on the hourly in the next few days, even if not today or maybe today, then it could lead to something. So I'll keep it because there's a strong trend, right? So this is something which is interesting. Similarly, PVR. But PVR, one more thing is which I personally feel, the nature of this stock. And I don't know if somebody else feels the same way, but every trader has his own way of looking at things. I feel the noise on the PVR intraday chart is generally more, and I don't like to trade it intraday until unless I see very clear signals, like seeing a breakout over here, etc. So I would not really be vehement about it, but just like Bharti Airtel, I would like to just keep it on my radar, right? So, and make that note for PVR as well. Okay. So I've got a couple of stocks, and I'm going to sift through the charts as I'm talking, just because this is the first video which is going to come out like this. Mindtree, which I shared on some of my social media, this thing, and social media platforms, me and my team had shared very vehemently. These places I had mentioned that this is very strong intermediate trend. Okay, so Mindtree is one thing which has been going on. I don't think there's some intraday or specific to today looking at. Okay, and we are going to look at places where there's been distribution. Okay, so here there's a distribution. That is why I took Lupin. Instead of taking places where there is a plain simple fall, look for distribution or look for very strong candle. Like the day before, TCS was on my radar. There's a strong bearish engulfing candle within a bearish zone. Okay, so like that. So TCS again, just because we are speaking of it, in the short term, could give us pullback from this support area. But I'm not going to look at it, in isolation. I'm going to wait for more evidence to form. Maybe it continues to fall. Kotak Bank has been one of the major, and Reliance. So first thing we should also see, if the short-term trend is down, what are the stocks which have participated and what has been the major Nifty and Bank Nifty, which is the stock which has been the major mover. Okay, so I'm going to take note of number one, Reliance. So let's look at Reliance. Let's look at Reliance. Just let's look at it. First of all, the weekly chart is in a humongous uptrend, no doubt about it. The daily chart is also in an uptrend. But if I look closely, okay, there have been in the recent times uh, a lot of divergence in the chart of Reliance. Okay, so when start divergences start happening, the upside breakouts and the upside moves start becoming less reliable simply because of the fact that the trend may be weakening. Okay, over here, I'm not making any sort of prediction, but I say that for the short term at least, this red candle could be something which could follow through. Okay, this could follow through. One more thing I tell you is that the area of the 60 zone of the chart has been touched around, so I will keep Reliance on my radar and keep an eye, a very close eye on Reliance. Now I'm not saying that I have to short it today itself, but if I get the opportunities, then why not? Yeah. And Kotak Bank similarly, some of these are two of the stocks, there are other stocks also, but two of the stocks which have shown really major down move. So again, Kotak Bank, the beauty is that huge red candle and huge volumes. Along with it, if you see that, you know, it has not just covered so many days of market data in just one day. So you can imagine that sellers are so confident that so many days of market data has been gone. Also on the hourly front, as I say, the 60-65 zone has been touched around. There has been some sort of a distribution, but it has not been a very wide distribution. The move alone, this one was very wide. So two things which I keep looking out for is one that I'm now the way this is moving, pretty clear that it could all actually cap down also. This could be happening. And any opportunities on the downside, Kotak Bank is going to be one of the things. See, when the market breadth is strong, many stocks there to talk about. Okay, in another video or in another session like this, maybe we don't get so many stocks to talk about. But today the breadth by the yesterday's market has been shown to be extremely bearish, and lots of stocks have participated. Okay, so when I'm looking at REC and Lupin, these are the stocks where I'm looking for a impending bearishness, right? But when I'm looking at follow throughs, you know, strong follow through, it is going to be stocks like Kotak Bank and Reliance. So what is important is that never is it just important to have your stocks on the radar, but also have what are the kind of stocks which are doing what for you in terms of the quality of their movement. You need to define that quality, right? So the stocks that are going to follow through in the red are different, and the stocks which are going to be breaking out in the red for fresh new moves are different, right? So I'm looking at them in such light, and we're going to sift through more charts, and if you have any questions, I'm going to answer those questions as well. Okay, and I hope the questions which are going to be asked are going to be nice questions. Okay, so let's keep looking at, yeah. So since I see IOC has given us a very strong range breakout, that was in my radar recently. One of the clear things is that we look at different stocks of the same sector. So I'm going to look at ONGC, I'm going to look at BBCL, right, etc. Now the tricky things with more news driven or commodity linked stocks, okay, the more tricky thing is that you know they tend to be very volatile, and they may not be very tradable at times. Okay, they tend to be very volatile because there are a lot of funds who are big players and they're not participating. So there are three kinds of participation in the market: hedgers, speculators, and arbitragers. So different participants may be motivated very suddenly to do different things. Okay, so that is why it becomes really difficult in terms of the volatility, which can be shown by the commodity related stocks. However, I'm not saying that I don't like to trade it, but I find the base metal related stocks to be more comfortable compared to the oil and gas sector, right? Oil marketing sector, right? Nothing much happening on the steel sector. Infosys is something interesting, but I don't think it will happen to give any kind of movement very soon. It can consolidate more because completely sideways. But one thing can be done is that if we see something obnoxious happening, which would indicate that we are getting out of a sideways movement or something, then yeah, Infosys radar can be kept. So, we keep a number of stocks on the radar which are like passive. So I keep that last in my list. I keep that last in my list. So I give a passive eye on Infi, which can be red or green. Okay, I don't know, but I'll keep a passive eye because I feel that it is near to certain developments which could happen, right? Right. So this could happen. So let's take, as I'm sifting through, let's see the next talk in the same which has been asked by two people. And InterSend is, I feel, a real no-brainer. It became a very short-term downtrend by itself over here. The structure I'm saying that I told you, in case of Kotak Bank, it is like a knife cutting through a banana, knife cutting through a piece of butter, like that. That smoothness the trend has been. So I completely vouch for the fact that short-term trend is down. But in the short term, when a movement has come and it has come down significantly, okay, so you don't want to trade in the extremes. So when I'm saying short term trend is down, I'm saying my data I have till now. I'm not saying it's not possible for it not to go down, but I would wait for some development to happen or an entry trigger to come. Okay, so this is one thing, and I feel that you need to give the market some time to breathe also. So this is one thing, and this would be this thing for Anderson, and there's been a high volumes, a lot of selling. In the long term, one of the things which I feel about Anderson Bank is that this pattern over here could have been a long term, medium term ABC pattern. Okay, so in case of Anderson Bank, this ABC, okay, if this is a correction, then there are chances that further lows will be made. There are chances. Okay, so that way an overall bearishness is lurking above industry in some ways. And so it goes for things like PS Bank, which have been very underperforming, RBL Bank, which is underperforming. RBL Bank is something again very interesting to look at. For 2 3 days, it was in a sideways motion. So this was one stock on my radar, and this has actually started going down. And now a lot of stocks which were sent sideways in motion few days back started to go down. So I feel that RBL could be one thing to follow through in case of pullbacks. So RBL keep in my bearish list. RBL Bank. I keep this in my bearish list. But again, because the daily chart supports the rise, gotta be careful. Not as strong as in case of Lupin from the daily perspective, but very strong from the hourly perspective. So RBL is one thing which will be on my radar. Indigo, I don't have much to say, and right now it's very volatile. I don't think it's a very trader friendly stock for intraday, unless you are just tracking, just Indigo. I'm talking about this market phase. Where it was going up, it was a different story, right? IGL, similar to Bharti Airtel, etc., have been one of the long-term trends. Again, IGL could be something which could be kept on the radar because it's a bullish thing, right? So NMDC, IGL, right? Things like that. Uh, okay, so I have Virochanji saying Bajaj Finance looks into distribution with our site diversity. Okay, excuse me. Let's look at Bajaj Finance, but we'll come to Bajaj Finance eventually. And yeah, this one is interesting. India Bulls Housing. So it had some structure. Earlier, for a point, I was thinking that day on Friday that what if we could break out from the trend line over here? But actually, that did not happen. And again, this is one thing which is strongly on my list, which has been there since a few days, which is India Bulls Housing. And we see it lurking right above short-term support. So this could be an ideal trigger, and the zone of 290.95 is important. So I'll keep this in my radar. Okay, so I have got one, two, three, four, and I had some auto stocks which I was looking at. And since somebody spoke about Bajaj Finance, first look at Bajaj Finance, and he was talking about some distribution. I don't see a distribution, but I do see that maybe a distribution could be happening in the next few days or weeks. Okay, I see a clear bearish engulfing looking like pattern, but it could have opened up. There would be more definite bearish engulfing. I personally trade less of Bajaj Finance and Bajaj Financial Services, but it's because most of these you find that the play is happening during the day many times. So play is changing during the day many times. So I like to look at it from a fresh perspective when the market opens. Okay, especially in a in a kind of and the short term trend is down. So I would keep it on my radar if I want to. But something when it develops something, then it will be more important for the day, right? Stocks like Hindustan Unilever are FMCG stocks. Okay, now this is again evidence. Torrent Pharma, Dabur has been short-term uptrend. Okay, Torrent Pharma, Apollo Hospitals, some of these have been short-term uptrend. Torrent Pharma has been on my radar since it crossed these levels. So I had spoken about it on my social media over here from bullish angle because I saw certain wave counts. And those who are not following me and watching this video, if you go to the date, you see my Instagram and Telegram posts. I have spoken about certain wave count appearances there. And later, I also in the live market spoke about this being a new leg of movement. So you see how it is building upon. So yes, Torrent Pharma, Dabur, okay, when talking about defensive stocks or FMCG stocks, it is a sign that the market, that the money is going in that direction, right? And money is going away from, as we can see, from the large caps, etc. And see, stocks like HDFC Bank, HDFC, quite many of them have shown bearishness, but it doesn't mean that I take all of them in my radar. Okay. Okay, one more stock which I have on my radar has been Havels. This is again very strong from my direction. Uh, you know, very strong sell because this has been something I've been counting the waves on, and Havels definitely suits because you see if my apprehension is that if this entire thing is going to be a ABC, okay, this is a ABC, and we have made lower lows below this. We have got confirmation the fact that lower lows have been made below this, right? The lowest level over here is 649, and we made 643 yesterday. We also made it with high volumes and after decent consolidation. And if my apprehension is that it's a ABC in an intermediate downtrend, then I see the stock coming down. So from a positional angle as well as intraday angle, because of the structure of the hourly chart, I see it breaking the support, and it is for me a very strong candidate on the downside. So Havels is again on my radar, and okay, very interesting stocks are there. I mean, I'm not going to be, talking specifically about everything, but yeah, generally what I've come, like in case of Federal Bank, I don't really trade this. But yeah, there's bullish possibility. But I don't want to trade this. I don't want to keep it on my radar. I want to just be free from it. And maybe during the markets, when I flip around the charts, I can come across. PNB has been something which is interesting more than the others in the PSU space. So PNB again completely engulfing the body of the previous 3 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, and a lot of days movement. So this gives me an idea that yeah, I'm good to go on the downside. But but there has been a movement, and also there has been some support area taken yesterday. So what I'd like to see is what PNB does when it comes here. So I'm going to wait and watch. But if it crosses and slices down like a knife cutting butter, then probably it's good to be participating with it. I think I will just keep it on my radar from a selling perspective, strong perspective. PNB, RBL Bank, two of the banks I'm keeping on my radar. No point putting too many banks also because the correlation is there. But yeah, Axis Bank again I'm looking at. So Axis Bank would be on my radar because one of the most structured present over here and has not already moved a lot. So Axis Bank is something which I could keep on my radar. One PSU bank. I don't generally trade a lot of banks, so I keep them at the end of my list. That's it. I've got a long list and I'm going to keep that as a we flip through more charts. Escort is going giving the similar conditions of uptrend like we saw on NMDC, etc. But I'm not going to have any fresh structure, so I'm not going to take it up in my short term. But yeah, this there were fresh structures over here when it started to break out. Um, Not really looking at anything else particularly. Dr. Eddie, yesterday I took an intraday trade on this, and yesterday I was looking at the consolidation and the wave counts. So maybe trends, as I said, sometimes in these kind of scenarios, in case of Lupin, we did take it as a bearish thing, but in these kind of scenarios, sometimes the money is going in to the FMCG and to the pharma space, which are the more defensive stocks. So money is going over there, right? DLF not again very tradable from an intraday perspective. In this phase, I let it go. Device Lab again, the pharma space thing was happening. Oro Pharma again, I'll keep Oro Pharma on my radar, but I believe it should do some short-term, sideways movements. I was bullish on it recently, and let's see how it behaves. Let's see how it behaves later. But nothing on to worth keeping for intraday, in my sense right now. Wait and watch. Wait and watch. Coal India again, something I don't trade, so I'll keep avoid it. Um, Wait and watch kind of scenario. And Century Textiles, perhaps I'll keep for more fresh bullishness. Again, a stock which is not a lifetime high, but is coming out of a very strong weekly consolidation and a double bottom pattern over here. There has been some decent consolidation. Shows me that there is potential, but only if we go above the recent consolidation, which is above this area. If I put my Bollinger Bands over here, probably I can get a help above when it starts going above the upper band. I can participate with it because I see a narrowing on this band is happening. And the recent past, there has been a trend, and that trend has been overly healthy. But because it is in a very strong daily zone, it has been so healthy. On the daily chart Bollinger Band, it is completely ripped off the upper end, so that is fine. And it is rested recently on the middle band. So I'll keep this on my radar for bullishness, right? So a long list for bearish and a long list for bullish. A short list for bullish, sorry. So I make my watch list now. As I'm speaking, after I'm done with this session, I'll make my watch list, adding all these stocks in front of me, and I'll be good to go. As we can see over here, Berger Paints and Asian Paints have been two paint stocks, paint making companies, which have been medium term uptrend. Berger has been on my radar since quite some time, since it broke on the weekly chart around 340 zone. And I really love the way this has trended since then. I've seen this stock since years. There was an ascending triangle pattern over here on the weekly chart, and it has done some bombastic things from there. You know, so I really like this stock and the way it is trending. I'm extremely bullish on it, but that's again intermediate trend kind of thing. So I will keep this on my intermediate list like that. Castrol gave a good breakout. Good morning, Prashantji. Castrol gave a good breakout 2 days back. Okay. Yeah, so Castrol, I do saw the chart on Castrol. So let's have a look at it. Castrol, I mean, it's completely fine. If you have your analysis, go ahead. I mean, I would not say, but I don't track this stock to be honest so much. So I will just let it pass because this is just not something which is my cup of tea somehow. Yeah, had I seen it over here while in the live markets, maybe I could make some inference, but not really my cup of tea. It's more little less liquid comparatively. I'm not saying very illiquid, but it's little less liquid. Uh, it could do anything. I mean, I don't have any inference on this. Sorry. Just educationally speaking, I don't have any influence. Generally speaking, I don't like the nature of the movement, and trading wise speaking, I don't see enough price data, in front of me like that. Canara Bank. Let's check out Canara Bank. Nothing, absolutely nothing. I had a look at the charts before coming in over here, before I zeroed on things, and I've been looking at many charts every day, but nothing very interesting. I was looking at certain auto stocks like Maruti, maybe Aisha, but again, nothing very interesting. So uh, this, the fact that cyclical stocks like auto stocks, they are not really showing me a lot of participation. It gives me an idea that maybe participation can come about, or maybe it is more of a bank-led and financial sector-led participation on the downside. So that we will only get to know while marketing is also now. So I have to really see what are the stocks which are showing participation and breadth, and take those, right. That would be more helpful. And if not, like say for example, Hero or be it Maruti, these are the cyclical stocks that could end up participating in the next few days, if not now. So like that. Okay. So guys, I will do one thing. I have sort of covered a lot of stocks, and many stocks I don't follow also. Some I don't follow, not many. Some I don't follow. And things like Just Dial, Jubilant, certain things I have, tracked from a medium perspective. I really like some of these stocks, but I'm not an intraday trader on these stocks. It just doesn't jive with me. One of the important things for an intraday trader, and some of the stocks which people have spoken about, and I don't, I'm not really commented on them or said anything on them. One of the important things as an intraday trader for me is to really look forward and take only those stocks which I'm comfortable with and I can read very well and I can act spontaneously on. Okay. So if I prepare myself and the market ends up showing me certain opportunities, then my job gets done very easily. Right. Similarly, when you all are practicing before the beginning of the new day, like I take up some concepts and I really grill myself over in the previous evening. I take up a list of stocks. In the morning, I have a fresh perspective, and I also have things to look at from a angle which I probably missed out yesterday. So I did do this homework and this ritual every day, and I'm now ready for the market. I'm now ready for the new day. At 9:15, the market will open and things will happen. So I'm going to. I have some more stocks coming, 3 or 4 stocks. People are speaking about, but I'll just let it pass because I'm not opening my software anymore. This video is about to come to an end, and thank you all for joining me. This is the. So I hope you have made your watch list and you have done your practice, and I'm particularly very happy about those people who have joined me since the very first minute because this shows that yeah, you are active, and I'm also very happy to see everybody who is over here, and keep coming. We're going to have this ritual again and again, and we're going to see how we go about things during the day, during the market hours. So thank you everybody for joining. Thank you all. Very good morning, and have a great day ahead. I'm also going to probably go and do some other stuff and join the markets later. What is the time now? The time around now is 8:22. So not much time left. So guys, have a great day ahead. I hope you had an enjoyable time today. You already made a very vast watch list, as you can see, and we're going to set up the terminal and set up things and go about looking at it. All right. So thank you so much. Have fun and take care. Thank you all. Thank you. Muli ji, Jitendra ji. Enjoy. Thank you all. Bye bye. Bye. Thank you, Prashant ji.